Welcome back to another episode of Buckle Up with the Boys here. Trevor is same reaction as last week here. Matt Canada. Gotta love him. But how are you two fellas doing? It's an honor and a privilege to be back with you boys. Nate Stice here and Trevor Dinsmore. But how are we doing?
Marginally better because the Steelers won a game, but man, was that ugly.
Well, Trevor.
From now on, when people say to me, "Hey, show me a Steeler game," that's probably the one that I'll throw on. Okay. Ugly as hell, but somehow they win. And in regards to the Canadian flags, I'm adding a flag every time we don't score 20 points on offense. And I only have 5 flags. It was a 5-pack that I ordered. So,
I love it.
Yeah, hopefully that doesn't continue for 5 weeks. I might lose my head.
Well, and I'll tell you too. And we'll touch more into it. There's a lot of news coming out of that game last night. A lot of people complain about how long it took. Okay, the reason it took so long, there was probably one of the worst injuries I've seen in my life. Didn't even want to show it on camera or do a replay of it. So let's just dive right into it here. Nick Chubb's gruesome left knee injury. He's required to get surgery at this point. I know everybody on the fantasy side of things are losing their shit, but this is a human being here. You know what I mean? So you think how much is, I guess, the Cleveland Browns offense going to be affected by him being out? It's the real question.
A lot.
Okay.
A lot.
Deshaun Watson. I think we saw a nice little microcosm of it on Monday. Sorry, Nate, go ahead.
Yeah. Deshaun Watson is cooked. He ain't it. He's not it anymore. No. 2 years off, too many distractions in his life. He's got the playmakers around him. I'm sorry. He's got a top-tier tight end. He's got a solid number one receiver. He's got various other receivers who are very capable in their own right. And he's got a stout offensive line, especially in the run blocking game. But nobody's going to be able to quite carry them like Nick Chubb. Right. He's one of the leading backs with yards per carry in the history of the NFL. I think he's third all time. And I think he's first all time in yards per carry in the fourth quarter of games. This is your closer. Deshaun Watson isn't your closer anymore. He used to be back in his younger years, back when he was, things were going well with the Texans. He was a closer. He was a guy you could rely on. You saw it last night. You couldn't rely on him. He was grabbing other teams' face masks. He was throwing it 15 yards out of bounds, throwing it behind guys, started the game with a pick six, so up and down, inconsistent. I think Colin Cowherd said it best today. What made Watson great was his legs while also looking downfield. The best quarterbacks in this league right now are able to move with their legs and keep their eyes downfield. Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. People like Justin Fields and Deshaun Watson aren't doing that, even though they have superior running ability and athleticism. It doesn't guarantee it's going to materialize. So the Browns are going to be hurting without Nick Chubb. It's not impossible for them to move forward. They have some decent backups, but there's also, I doubt it, but there's an outside chance that you plug in somebody like Kareem Hunt, who just was, didn't re-sign with the organization, knows the offense, and can be ready in a matter of weeks. And he's proved that with injuries and suspensions and all that sort of stuff. Give him some fresh legs and he'll be ready. So, yeah, they're going to be hurting without him. Needless to say, I got long-winded, but Nick Chubb he's different, man. He's one of the best. He's one of the best football players in the world, no question.
Yeah.
I don't really have too much to add to that. One of the very, very few true cowbell backs in the game today. We know how scarce that mantra is becoming in today's NFL. And he's one guy, weirdly, normally when your offense is sputtering, you try and pass out of it. In today's game, Cleveland Browns normally hand the ball to Nick Chubb. He picks up 5-6 yards, gets the offense, keeps them on schedule, sets up the play action. And that's one thing I noticed about last night, too. As soon as, Chubb got hurt and was carried off the field, they weren't able to utilize the play action pretty much whatsoever. I mean, there were those couple plays where the Steelers had them pinned down in their own goal line, and Watson made a couple nice throws, but other than that, there really wasn't a whole lot coming out of that Browns offense after Chubb's injury. And like you said, Nate, Kareem Hunt, he's going to be visiting the team this week. But as of now, that Jerome Ford, who actually did pretty well, had 106 yards on 16 carries, including a 69-yard run in that game, filling in for Chubb. But the offense still just kind of seemed lost, and they really couldn't cash in on too much other than that after that 69-yard run. And it kind of went the other way, too. The Steelers, they could only get their offense going with big plays. And, of course, the George Pickens play, and it really wasn't many other big plays to speak of.
Right.
But, my God, what an ugly game.
Right. And just to piggyback the Nick Chubb injury talk here, I don't think it's right that there's a lot of people attacking Minka. That's a routine tackle. I'm sorry. There was no. I don't. And this is not just as a Steeler fan. I don't think it was malicious at all. That's a routine tackle. They say he went low. They all go low. Some of these guys you got to wrap up. If you don't wrap, you go.
You can't hit him high. Where are you going to hit him? Hit them low, and that's just a side effect of all these new rules now. You can't hit above the head, or can't hit above the shoulders, can't hit the head. Right. Not even incidental contact with the shoulder. That's still 15 yards, maybe a fine, and all that good stuff. But so where does that leave guys? You have to go low, and more guys are getting injured with the leg injuries because of it now, and it's just really unfortunate that that happened to Nick Chubb. Sometimes your leg just gets caught, and the thing too that happened to him at Georgia too. And honestly, and Nate, you said this when we were live, we were texting. That Georgia injury might have been worse.
Oh yeah.
So the fact that he's gone through that, and now this injury that's obviously going to require surgery, end his season, and probably eat up a good chunk of next season. I don't know if he comes back the same. We know guys like 2012 AP that came back just fine, but we know a plethora of others that have not, and it's derailed their careers. So hopefully that's not the case for Mr. Chubb. I'm a Steelers fan. I'm taught to hate the Browns, but I don't hate players. I don't wish that on anyone.
Right. No, thoughts and prayers out to Nick Chubb. But other things here, boys, we basically, already been talking about it here. Steelers offense. I did, and I sent Trevor, and I believe I sent Nate this clip. Them chanting "Fire Canada" right after that design RPO run with Kenny, and then poor Kenny has to sit up there. I don't know if I catch the press conference after the game. Kenny's getting derailed. What do you think's going on with the offense? He knows the answer, but he's not going to say it because that's just not. You know what I mean? He's not going to call out Matt Canada, but also his play wasn't good last night. I'm going to say it. He's. I don't know if he's fucking nervous, Nate. Trevor, I don't know what the hell's going on, or if it's the release. I mean, what do you think? I mean, it's just a clusterfuck again this week after last week. So.
It's a lot of things. You got to consider this too. We've played two top tier defenses in the NFL these first 2 weeks. Right. Browns, obviously, they're pretty much set all across the board with their front seven, and they honestly have one of the more underrated secondaries in the game, in my opinion. And then, of course, San Francisco, maybe even the best defense in the NFL. Maybe. Right. We know who might be the best in the NFL as well now. We know who's the best in fantasy. I just know that much. Right. So you got to take that with a grain of salt, but you also got to take the play calling into consideration and the fact that me as a fan who's never coached a game of football in my life, never been on the field, never done anything related to putting together a game plan for a football game, when I'm calling out plays and what I don't want to see, and then Matt Canada does that exact same thing, and it doesn't work, that should tell you all you need to know.
Right. Yeah. Nate, what do you?
Well, it comes down to a lot of things. There's a lot of things that I'm going to dive into. Okay. But the number one thing comes down to they can't run the ball.
Right. Yes.
As soon as you are able to run the ball, it opens up Kenny Pickett a little bit more. Right. When you're not a very good quarterback, you need a good running game. Just ask people like Daniel Jones, for example, how he's going to fare without Saquon Barkley. He ain't liking it.
No.
He ain't liking that. Now, Kenny Pickett just happens to have two what I think are pretty good running backs, although I will say this. Jalen Warren's looked like a better back so far to start this year again than Najee Harris has.
Yes.
And they're paying Jalen Warren pennies compared to Najee Harris. And sure, Najee Harris is on a rookie deal, but they're still paying Jalen Warren pennies compared to Najee Harris. Thank goodness we found that kid, undrafted kid, busts his butt, blocks well, catches the ball well, runs hard. Great football player. A lot of respect for Jalen Warren. And it's not a shot at Najee either. He's a dang good football player too, but they just can't run the football, you guys. This offensive line is not better. I know that they've kept this unit together from last year, pieced it, some pieces in a little bit here and there to make it a little bit better, but really it's mostly the same crew, and they really are not better at all. And I know it took them a few weeks to get going last year, but we can't afford to just wait for you guys till week 8. You know what I mean? We're waiting now. Like, we have 15 games left. It has to start now. You have to be blocking now. You have to get your play calling better now. Kenny has to be able to hit receivers now. It has to come together really soon. We can't be sitting here at what were we last year? 2-7, 2-6. We can't be doing that. I know we had a brutal schedule last year, but we have a brutal schedule this year. Our division sucks. We have 6 really, really difficult games built right into our schedule. And then you throw the 49ers on top of that. That ain't freaking easy. That's horrible. That's horrible. So there's 7 really hard. I don't even know the rest of our schedule. I haven't memorized it yet. But it really comes down to a multitude of things. Canada's play calling is so basic, it's very elementary. That hasn't changed. I'm telling you right now, Mike Tomlin doesn't really care. He's going to wait till the end of the year and make a decision. He's not going anywhere because they'll just keep surviving and advancing no matter what. I mean, goodness gracious, we were missing 3 or 4 of our top defensive players last night. We had 2 defensive touchdowns with several no-name guys out there. It's bizarre. That's a great unit. It's deep. They're really good. They're our best offense right now. Our defense is our best offense. Here's how you rank the top 4 scoring threats on this Pittsburgh Steelers right now. Number 1, best offense is our defense. The number 2 best offense is Chris Boswell's foot. The number 3 best offense is Kelvin Austin and nobody else, including Gunnar Olszewski, in the freaking return game. And number 4 is other. Other, not offense, other. Including offense and whatever the frick else we come up with.
Right.
Presley Harvin kicking it for once decent down and pinning people down and we get a safety. That's other. That's mixed in with offense. That is other.
Right.
That's how bad our offense is. When our 4th best offensive option is the offense and something, you have a problem. So, yeah, that's how I feel. It's pretty crappy, and I'm pretty salty after a win, but that was terrible. That was absolute. We haven't had a first down in the first quarter of the games yet.
Mm-hmm.
We are averaging 10 points a game on offense.
Yeah.
We have the 31st ranked offense in the league.
No.
It isn't good enough.
No.
It's not. It has to be better, and it has to be better now, like immediately. I want to see some strides, like now.
No. And to all the people out there, this isn't just going to be a whole Steelers episode, but I do have to say, I knew when Gunner came in there, they ran that play, he goes back and then he comes back across and then he gets fucking nailed. I knew exactly what the hell they were going to do there. I thought it was going to be a jet sweep, Nate. That's what I was like, oh, here we fucking go.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you right now, the most idiotic play I saw, and it might be from, a lot of people are bashing muscle memory, but you got to realize that you're fucking doing a kickoff. Like, what the fuck are you? Just let it go. Let it go.
You get it at 40. Instead, you get it at the 9.
Or
Come on, Gunner, you idiot.
Like, just stick your foot out a little bit and touch the white. That's all you had to. Whatever. It's
maybe my favorite part about that whole sequence was him doing this. Like, oh, what did I do? What did I do? Then you see the replay, and he got 3 feet in bounds.
Yeah, he toe tapped on a kick return.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Fucking Centennial in the Super Bowl out there.
We're glad that we got you some practice of toe tapping during the game, catching it not from the quarterback. Like, great. Maybe this is why you went Division II, Gunner, because you're an idiot.
No, it's terrible. And it took that play to have them put Calvin back there, and you see right away when he's back there, that splash play, 14 yards.
It's magic. It is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. And in fairness, to kind of shed a positive light on that was our worst field position of the day.
Yeah,
I'll take that. But I have a very low tolerance for stupidity in general, and it's even lower with professional athletes on a football field. So, needless to say, I like Nate now, and probably during the game, and many other Steeler fans during the game, we were like Stephon Diggs. The hell going on? Like,
right.
Look,
that is one of the lowest IQ plays I've ever seen.
Oh, it's terrible.
Oh,
this is what I don't understand. Look, I know Julio Jones is not a slot receiver or a kick returner, but how in the crap is Gunnar Olszewski on an NFL roster and Julio Jones is sitting on his butt? Right. That, to me, tells me and everybody how stupid this organization can be sometimes. They are loyal to a freaking fault. And thank God Khan's in there and Fatso is gone, because this guy's actually trying. I know it just hasn't materialized yet. Colbert, thank goodness you're gone. I cannot believe we let your Tubbillard behind draft. I cannot believe it. You should have never been able to draft for a team that you're not staying on. That's terrible. And look at who we drafted. A quarterback in the late rounds who didn't even take a freaking snap in the preseason. Come on. Pick an offensive lineman. Oh, wait, you can't do that either because you pick Kendrick Green. You can't pick anybody. Instead, we get him picking, and we have to deal with this baloney. So Khan comes in with a mess. And then he has to deal with the politics of Matt Canada loves Anthony McFarland, Kenny Pickett, and Gunnar Olszewski to a fault. Yeah. And then we have to deal with Tomlin being loyal to Matt Canada because they're friends, because he coached at Pitt and had one good game in his life, and he beat Clemson once. He was a mediocre college coach that got a chance because Mike Tomlin shared a building with him for a couple years in college, and now we have to deal with him here in the NFL, and it's terrible. He should not be in the NFL. He will never coach in the NFL after this year, I promise. I promise.
Oh, boy.
He's terrible. He needs to be gone now, but he's not going to be. He sucks. He should never have gotten this job. Like, this is Andrew Jackson presidency politics. This is terrible.
Yeah. No.
This is the Andrew Jackson administration. You hire your friends, you hire your friends' friends, you hire your neighborhood freaking posse of people, and you expect it to just run all fine and dandy. Well, sometimes it does. But, like, no, it doesn't always work that way. Like, my gosh, if we were starting a professional baseball team, I'm not picking you guys on the team. Sorry. I'm not. I'll pick Shohei because it makes freaking sense. I don't care if he's my friend or not. He freaking is good. Maybe not now with the torn UCL, but you get the point.
I'll tell you right now, I've waited Nate, this beautiful. I think you first came on, or we had you, involved a year ago. I've been waiting for this moment. I think the fans have been waiting for this moment for you just to let loose just a little bit. You gave us a little shine. I loved it. But it's all true points. Because I'll tell you right now, if Canada's back next year, I might fucking have a hemorrhage because I cannot. We were spoiled with Ben. Then you bring Kenny in, and I'll tell you right now, you wasted his fucking Ben's last seasons because of this piece of shit. Not you, Nate, but this piece of shit. And then you have fucking Kenny come in. The guy's, coming off a pretty good college season. His junior year wasn't good. His senior year was pretty good. I have to say it's ACC ball, but that's whatever. Yeah. But you automatically now he's fucked. You're just completely starting his career off like shit. He doesn't know he probably doesn't agree with the calls when it's coming down because you're too fucking scared to come down from the booth. Why? That's another thing. Why is he in the booth and not on the sideline? Like there's no human interaction. He's hearing over a speaker. You know what I mean? I don't know. He should be down there on a fucking tablet, Nate and Trevor, and talking with Kenny, not from a fucking booth. But whatever.
Well, Drew, his plays are easy enough to call out and steal. How do you think his signals are easy to call out and steal?
I think
you don't even need a trash can for that.
Right. But I think it's so discouraging.
Just look.
You have a rookie QB come in and you don't even have the balls to come down on the sideline because I think that the fans are just going to bash the living fuck out of you. But to have a rookie come in, there's no, you know what I mean? Going over the micro on the Surface Pro, explain plays. I guess we'll wait till the next day to do that. Whatever. I mean, you could probably fix whatever the fuck's going on with the line. The line, that's another thing I want to talk about. Offensive line coach, fucking fire his ass. I'm going to tell you because when coming in the season,
not look good.
Top 5. I thought we were going to have a top 5 line. No, fuck it. like, you know what I mean? Even with Ben, we've never had a fucking line. I can't believe it. It's just, it's whatever.
There was one spurt in Ben's career. We had one of the best lines in the league. We had DeCastro and Pouncey and a few other guys that were phenomenal football players. The problem was those were the years where we had no defense.
Right.
It was Ryan Shazier chasing everybody down from the middle linebacker position. And, that just showed the kind of athlete he was. But the problem that was happening with Shazier is once Shazier got hurt, we were screwed. And we had to score 30 and 40 points again. But, yeah, like early in his career, Ben got sacked a bunch. Then middle of his career, the line shored up. And then at the end of his career, he was getting sacked a crap ton because our line was one of the worst in the league. Our line's marginally better on paper, but it hasn't looked like it. I think like paper's paper, man. You got to execute it. You got to execute out there, man. It doesn't win you anything. You can look at all the stats and game plans and all in the world, but if you don't have good technique and it's not good play calls, and if they don't believe in the thing too, they got to believe in what you're calling. That's part of it. They got to be a little bit inspired, and they got to want to block for these guys. They got to think these plays are going to work. When you run the Waterboy playbook, when you do the same freaking thing to the right, then he fakes to the left, and it's like, come on, man. Like, can you freaking figure something else out? Like, Everybody knows where it's going. Like, it's terrible. So predictable.
Do you think he has a blue binder like the Waterboys coach, but it has, I think it just has finger paintings in it. There's no fucking play calls.
He has a blue binder, and it has like 10 pieces of graph paper, and he just flips them back and forth to see the 20 plays of his playbook. He's got one play per side, and it's like, oh, okay, this one. And I think he does, like, he rolls a dice, and he just says, sheet 6, and then he rolls another dice. He's like, play 4. Okay. And then he's like, that's it. We'll just run that. It's like, that's what it looks like sometimes.
Yeah.
Terrible.
It's just to save all of us from high blood pressure, because we are starting to get old, fellas. Okay. So we're going to move on to another topic here. Okay.
That's
so Green Bay Packers left tackle, David Bakhtiari. I might have fucked his name up. I apologize. Bakhtiari. Sat at the game on Sunday, which was played on artificial turf, after slamming on Twitter NFL after Aaron Rodgers' injury. Do you think this is going to, and I hate the comparison, but I got to give a shout out to Brad for shooting me this news right before the show. I appreciate you, brother. But do you think this is going to be compared to maybe the Kyrie Irving's situation, not COVID, but how he doesn't want to, he's just going to sit out at artificial fields. And this is going to become a big thing. I don't think he understands the gravitude of him sitting out.
It hurts the Packers, but it helps his health. He's had a bad injury history, and it's affecting his health.
Okay.
Yes.
A limited Bakhtiari is better than no Bakhtiari, and the Packers have figured that out over the last 3 to 4 years. Dude was one of the best tackles and offensive linemen in the whole league, but he wasn't staying out there over the last few years. So he wasn't protecting Rodgers, and now he's not protecting Jordan Love. So I'm with him, though. I'm with him. Patrick Mahomes also came out and said, look, we should have grass. It helps us.
Yes.
We feel better on it. We believe it helps with injuries. And I saw a stat, and I don't know if it's true. I think the NFL would have to spend about $8 million or, which is pennies to them, not to everybody else, but pennies to them, to fix all these turf fields and make them the grass that is preferred by these players. So I'm with these guys, though. I'm really with them. It sucks if Bakhtiari is going to sit out, but that's his choice. That's the Packers' mess and choice to kind of figure out for their health, their team, their organization. Mm-hmm. But I'm with them, If it prevents injuries, makes the product better, it makes the league more competitive. It helps these guys' health, longevity. Nobody wants to rehab with what people are going through right now. My gosh, what A-Rod's going through. People like Chubb, it has nothing to do with turf or anything, but just like these knee injuries of the sort, I'll say, and ankle injuries, whatever. If they can be decreased in any way, that's great. This is already a violent game. And if we have these non-contact injuries and practice injuries and stuff like that, if we can eliminate a lot of those, that's a great thing to me.
Okay. Trevor?
Yeah, just kind of echo your points and kind of to focus on the non-contact portion of that as well. I can't really cite any studies for you offhand. I'm not that smart, but I'm smart enough to know, and I've been well versed in reading that turf is notoriously worse for non-contact injuries and Achilles tears and ACL, MCL, ligament damage, all that stuff than grass. That much I know. And I know it has a lot to do with the footwear of the players and just with how hard the turf is. Not only that, you get slammed onto that however many times a game. If you're a running back, wide receiver, quarterback, you're going to be a little roughed up after the fact. I mean, Kirk Cousins is thanking his lucky stars that he has a decent offensive line, because he would probably get the wind knocked out of him every other play. Vikings play on a turf field among other teams, but no, players have always preferred grass. And I know turf it's cheaper, a lot easier to maintain, and it's a lot better for the passing game, which, the NFL wants. Yep. They want more excitement. They want more points.
Yep.
We saw that all the way back at the advent of the greatest show on turf. So it's unfortunate. Hopefully the players can make enough noise, make enough headway that they make some change with that. Because I like seeing games played on grass too. I don't like seeing games played on turf. I'm a bit old school in my football fandom. I like to see a good old fashioned slugfest sometimes, and a lot of times you don't get that when you're on turf, just because it's so much easier to move the ball, pass the ball, get big plays and everything like that. So,
right.
I hope they make the switch. And if Nate, what you said is true, it costs them what, $8, $9, $10 million?
Yeah,
just to change that.
Yeah,
that's pennies. That's me pulling out a $5 at Sheetz and getting a soda. Like that's.
Got a comment in the chat here. It's 12 mil.
12.
It doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah, but regardless,
Still,
I have to say this, and as a business, okay, and I think people forget this. NFL's a business. It's actually ruled under entertainment section.
Yes.
If you look it up. Why the fuck wouldn't you do that? So, example, you go Browns fan goes to the Steelers game last night, okay, and Chubb gets hurt, or maybe another star player gets hurt. Why would you want that to happen if you could stop that? You know what I mean? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I bet you Jets fans, season ticket holders aren't going to the fucking game now because Rodgers is hurt. So, I mean, you look at it any way you want to look at it, but I think players' health has been very behind. I'm not going to try to make this a health forum here, but that's great. You did that. You took care of the concussions. That's a bit major thing. CTE, major thing. Very late coming. I think we all can agree on that.
Yeah.
But now you have another thing. You got freak athletes out there that are moving faster than, the speed of light. And if you can stop an injury, I don't even think last night's injury, but definitely Rodgers' knee, Trevor, that did play a role. So, it is what it is. But we did touching on it earlier in our Steelers segment of just completely just trashing the shit out of Matt Canada, which I really enjoyed there. Saquon Barkley goes down in the New York Giants game against Arizona. So where do they go from here? Are they going to sign another running back? How fucked is Daniel Jones? Is he worth the $40 million? There's a lot of questions here.
Well, they converted some of that $40 million into a signing bonus, so that helped marginally. I think it was like $8 million. Mm-hmm. That didn't really make much of a difference. Yeah. No, it's going to be Matt Breida. He has a history with Dayball, so he's going to get a crack. And then they got a couple other guys they're going to mix in the carousel and hope they can patch it. They're going to at least give these guys one game to see how they do. Okay. They have to. Okay. There are some good guys out there potentially that could be signed, but they're going to give those guys a run. Breada's not really had a chance to be a lead back. He's been a featured back with San Francisco, I believe, and he's been a featured back in Buffalo and a couple other places. He's had a crack at it, but I expect him to be like running back 1A maybe. I think he's pretty good in the passing game. Might get a few of the lead carries, but I think they're going to do a little running back by committee. And, I've been looking at fantasy stuff and they think they suspect he's going to be number one, but they can't even prove that he's going to be number one because they're not really sure how this is going to work. So I think it's going to be a steady run of, Breida, Daniel Jones is going to get his runs in, but hey, you paid a lot of money for some of these wide receivers and this tight end to get a run in. Let's see what they got. If you can possibly get them the ball, hopefully they can carry the offense for once. It's the passing game's turn to do it for an offense that's really been run on Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley's legs for the last 2, 3, 4 years. So I don't know. Going to be interesting to see what Dayball comes up with, but once he scores some points, man, I think they just needed to see some go in. 6 quarters, no points, 30 points in the last 2 quarters of week 2. But hopefully they can keep that up. I have some confidence in Dayball. He's a pretty smart guy. Granted, 30 points was on a shaky Cardinals team, but still, that's sometimes all you need, man. This is the NFL. Anybody can beat anybody. So we'll see what happens there.
But I guess, yeah, true.
Oh, no. Again, not too much to add. Another one of those guys, how do you replace Saquon Barkley? How do you replace Nick Chubb? The short answer is you don't. You just try and put the Band-Aid over the wound, so to speak, until Saquon's able to get back, which I believe he's out, 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, somewhere in that neighborhood. So thankfully it's not a season-ending injury like Chubb's was, but still, it's going to be an interesting few weeks here for the Giants. They're going to have to reinvent their offense a little bit. Danny Dimes is going to have to make some throws. They're going to have to get the receivers involved. Waller's going to have to get involved. He actually did get involved in the second half, and he ended the game with 76 yards, thankfully. But it's going to be dicey. It's going to be dicey without who I consider to be, and most people consider to be that entire offense in Saquon Barkley. And it doesn't help that they're playing the Niners on Thursday, then the Seahawks, Dolphins, Bills right after that. So good luck. Good luck, Giants. You might be 1-4 after these next few weeks.
Well, Trevor, I told you what I put that bet in. Every quarter that the San Francisco leads in money line all day. That's just easy money. But I got to say this, and I feel like we attacked the Bills, the Cowboys, Raiders, all these poor organizations out there. I'm going to go after the Giants tonight just for shits and gigs. I don't think – I love Dable's press conference after the fact. Oh, wow, we came back from 21 point comeback, since 1945 was the last time they did that. I just want to put that out there to the whole Giants organization and Dable. You shouldn't even have fucking been down. The Cardinals are injured team. You got Josh Dobbs. No offense to Josh Dobbs. I've always been a fan of him. But you shouldn't even have fucking – that's not the team that it should have even came to that. So I wouldn't – you go ahead and hang your hat on that, but I don't think that's any fucking real kick in the ass for the team there, boys. I mean, trash team. I mean, you shouldn't even have been down.
Yeah.
Without Saquon, yeah. They were on pace to lose 40-0 again.
Right.
And I kind of ate my words with this. I put a tweet out about that, and eventually I ate my words. But, it took that for them to beat the Cardinals. And the fact that they're hanging 9.5 to San Francisco, I think that's generous to the Giants. Granted, it is a Thursday game. Thursday nights are weird. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if it's going to be a 12-9 game like that Broncos-Colts game last year. That's still one of the worst games of all time. That and the Mud Bowl. I imagine y'all remember the Mud Bowl.
3-0.
I watched 3-0. Jeff Reed.
Yeah.
Buried a 37-yarder, something like that. But, yeah, honestly, San Francisco, 9.5, that's easy money as well, if I had to throw that out there. And I would say I'd go ahead and sprinkle McCaffrey a couple touchdowns in there as well. Giants don't have that great a rush defense. Their secondary is decent, but their front seven is other than Thibodeau, it's dicey.
Right. But no, we'll see what happens on Thursday night. But also, people, last week we added a new segment into the show, which I really thought it went good. So we'll switch over here to hot takes from the boys. It's going to be very eventful here. I don't know if you guys want me to go first, or you two got something that's burning you that you want to get out there just to fucking let loose. Nate, you let loose earlier, so I don't know.
Well, I have one more point I can add.
Okay.
I'll add one more about the Steelers, and then I'll add one other one that from what I've watched this weekend.
Okay.
I'll start with a non-Steeler one because I'll probably go on a tangent with the Steeler one to
That's
end.
all right. That's
Yes.
fine.
Deshaun Watson is cooked, and that contract sucks.
Yes.
I don't even know if it's a hot take anymore. I think a lot of people are starting to figure it out. And there was, skepticism last year. Oh, he only played 6 games. Oh, some of these games were tough. These teams were warmed up. He wasn't warmed up. He was out of the building for 12 weeks in a row, whatever. No, man. He had a whole offseason now. Doesn't look good. Got an elite defense, got an elite running game, got an elite offensive line, pretty solid playmakers, probably an average in the league, maybe slightly below average, I guess. I don't know, somewhere in the middle. But Amari Cooper's a stud, so that's a very good number one. He doesn't look good, man. He's worried about all the other stuff that he never seemed to used to worry about. He was chirping. He was grabbing people's face masks. He didn't look good, man. Didn't look good. And I know they scored 24 points against the Bengals, but Bengals haven't been good again. The Bengals crappy start again. That's how the Bengals always go. But, that's one take. I don't even know if it's that hot of a take anymore, but that's one that I'm going with. Another one I just thought of off the top of my head is Los Angeles Chargers aren't making the playoffs. And Austin Eckler is a problem when he's not playing for that football team. Joshua Kelly did not have a great game. He was keyed on so bad. He's not the same playmaker. He's such a good secondary back when he can have those chances off of Eckler. But, man, he didn't look great. The Chargers lost a bad game against the Titans, who I don't think are going to win a lot of games this year or shouldn't. So that's a bad loss, and I believe they got a pretty tough opponent in week 3. I'm blanking on off the top of my head who they have, but it's somebody pretty good. So it's the Vikings, who are both desperate teams. So should be a good showdown against 2 teams that are going in the wrong direction, I believe. Overachieved last year, but don't have elite defenses at all. And the worst take, and I'm telling you, I've been saying this for a while. I've been kind of a little passive with it after the great preseason, but Kenny Pickett is not our quarterback of the future. He's not. I'm not on this kid, man. I've tried, but I felt like you could see it coming out of college. You could see it, you know, you can see it in the preseason. Preseason, he's staring down his receiver. He's looking at his first read and he's just throwing it. And that was the case of that interception last night. That was the case of some of these interceptions that he's had over this, 2 years of his career, just staring guys down. And he's also not a very accurate guy. Yeah, he's clutching the 2-minute drill a couple of times, but don't let that oversight. This guy is not seasoned at all. He's 25 years old, and he's not given autonomy at the line of scrimmage unless he's in the 2-minute. That's red flags to me. I don't think he's our quarterback of the future. I unfortunately think we missed. I think it was a big reach. I think it was a big loyalty grab in this organization. So I don't think this kid's it, man. But we'll see. They're loyal to a fault, and they stick with their guys. But that's my hot take. I don't think Kenny Pickett's the quarterback of the future for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
My skin's burning, but that's okay. I get it, though. He needs to fucking show up, Nate. I get it. It drives me nuts. It's just, yeah. Trevor, any hot takes, buddy?
I have a few, but I want to hear yours first.
I've surfed all day for these. Can Sean Payton really turn around the Denver Broncos? I'm going to be honest with you. After the comments made yesterday in the press conference, I feel like, and I have a Broncos fan, or a friend that's a fan, so I gotta be careful how I word this because I don't want to hurt his feelings. But I'm going to be quite honest. I do not think I think they draft a quarterback next season. Or in this draft, he does not. Him and Russell are not meshing. I don't know. What do you boys think?
I think that's a very reasonable take. Absolutely, I'll tell you what. It could be a very big mess for some of these organizations this offseason. We could. I don't know. We could see teams try to move off of Deshaun Watson, Kyler Murray, and Russell Wilson, and they are owed so much freaking money. Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what the future holds, but like Lamar Jackson is kind of another quarterback in that sort of playing style that also got a boatload of money. Yeah. So I don't know if there was another candidate that may or may not be eventually in that same category as those three that I said. That's another guy. No, Drew, I think that's a very reasonable take. Yeah. It'll be painful for the bank accounts of I believe it's the Walton family. Yeah. But, oof, man, that would be probably a good decision, man. Russ just hasn't trended in the right direction. It's a shame. Yeah. His career just took a tailspin. Yeah. Prioritized the wrong things, in my opinion, but we'll see.
Yeah. He's more focused on his hair than throwing the fucking football.
Kissing babies, like Sean Payton says.
Kissing babies.
Kissing babies, Subway commercials, doing squats and stretches on planes.
For 6 hours.
For 6 hours.
Come on.
You know what? I think that's what he needs to do from now on before the game. Even if they're not flying, he just needs to rent a plane, go to the airport, get on it, just circle the airport, and just get on there and do some high knees. I think that'll turn this season around for the Denver Broncos.
I think more than anything, he needs to start his infomercial yoga and fitness instructor career ASAP. That will fulfill his heart. That will fulfill his heart and give his PR team an endless amount of work to do, because people will be making their 3 payments of $19.95 to get his infomercial yoga instructor stretches and yoga pants and dungarees and all this crap that he needs to wear and stuff. So maybe he should join up with what the fuck's that guy? He had a older guy, had the sweatbands on.
The aerobics guy. I'm drawing a blank on his name. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Yeah,
Russell Wilson doing that. He's got the demeanor, and that's what he likes to do.
Yeah. Hey, weren't you a starting quarterback? Yeah, we don't talk about that now. Okay, now go down in the downward dog. Okay, everybody. Now 1 and 2 and 3. But all right, we'll move on from that. Can Zach Wilson play well enough to help the New York Jets reach the playoffs?
What do you think, Drew?
I watched. So I fucked up. I watched the last episode of Hard Knocks today. Saw how promising Aaron Rodgers. It's just I wish I would have watched it before the fucking injury.
Yes.
It is what it is. But I'll tell you right now, I think the Jets are still a dangerous team. But I'm going to be honest with you. I think they're in the same boat, and I can't believe I'm fucking saying this because I'm looking at his rookie card right now, and I love him so much. I think they're in the same boat as the Steelers are right now. The defense is going to have to fucking score the points. I feel bad for Garrett Wilson, Randall Cobb, all those guys. Uzma, right? Is that his? Uzama.
Lazard. They got
Conklin.
Yeah, they got a crew.
I mean, they're all, and then the 2 guys they picked up that I'm so happy they actually signed them off of Hard Knocks. But all those things. So I think now we're going to switch over the records for the Jets. I say now, and this is going to be still, I think, a gift. I think they're going to finish fucking 9-8. I mid-pack, maybe scrape in there, but I don't know. It's going to be like deciding on another fucking game if that team loses. It's not going to be like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. What do you boys think?
They still got a chance if that defense can hold up and they can run the football. I mean, Breece Hall, he said it himself. Get him the ball. What do you get the ball 5 times in the game? When you get Breece Hall the ball, things happen. Get him the ball. Right. Get Garrett Wilson the ball as well. You can't have him catch the ball twice. You saw what happened when he caught the one ball. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Thank you, because you're on my fantasy team, Garrett Wilson. I needed it big time. But besides that, your team needed it big time. Right. They got a lot of talented guys. They just Zach Wilson just has to manage the game. Quit throwing it away and quit holding on to it. Quit running around like a chicken with your head cut off. Go through your progressions and figure this sucker out, man. Right. I hope to God this kid can figure it out because he's got a golden ticket.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've saw it over the last few days. If this dude can hold them up, there is a outside chance that Aaron Rodgers can be back in January.
Good tie-in.
And I don't know if it's true. I doubt it. But still, you need to be playing like he is.
Yeah.
You need to be playing like he is. Right. You need to help this team get there.
Yeah.
What he did last game was unacceptable.
Yes.
That was atrocious. He was atrocious. Oh,
Trevor, I told you what he's going to do. And now we'll just take a little break and switch over to this real quick. So Aaron Rodgers, for everybody out there, probably wondering how the hell is that going to happen? How's he going to come back by January? So he actually is over. He's going over to Germany like Kobe did. Again, I can't fucking remember what they said, but some medical term that it's in Latin and I can't do it. They're shooting him up in the Achilles with some substance, and then now they're having him do some exercises, get in a cool bath, whirlpool thing. It's too fucking way above my IQ. So I could see him coming back. Kobe came back quick from that, Nate. So that's why it's not out of question. But I thought he was going to go in a cave for 3 days and do some peyote. The other thing too, he's talking about that UFO when he got to New York in the last episode here. I'm like, this guy's fucking zoinked. Like,
he's an interesting character.
Yep. Well, if you listen to the McAfee show, he's got he did the research. He's got probably his little handbook of all the, and I want to use this term because he used the term on the McAfee show, all these modalities to try and get back in January. And he actually misused the word modalities, as Pat McAfee so generously pointed out. But, just the fact that he's using those $10 words in the context of his injury. Yeah. What an eccentric guy, huh? What an eccentric guy.
Yeah, he had quite the outburst this week, the last couple of days on there. He talked about everything. He talked about everything from the injury to the people that were calling him out on the reasons why he got injured.
Right.
Some people said he got injured because of his vaccine status. Like, that doesn't tie in, you guys. No, it has nothing to do with it.
Sorry to interrupt you, Nate, but what did he say exactly? He basically gave the equivalent of The Rock saying you can turn it sideways and stick it up your candy ass in regards to the vaccine.
Yeah, it has. Okay. It couldn't be the 30 years of athletics, and being a professional quarterback and a college quarterback for 25 years straight. No, that couldn't have nothing to do with it. And this crappy turf that he plays on.
Right.
That have nothing to do with it. It's Pfizer Moderna's fault. No, shut up, you idiots. It has nothing to do with your thoughts on a freaking pandemic.
I love it.
Stupid.
Yeah. And I snuck this. We'll switch over back. I'll take it. Nate, I traded him to you, and this isn't a blow by any means, but I just have to say, can Joe Burrow overcome a slow start for the second straight year? He re-aggravates that calf. What the fuck? Is it because they don't have an indoor practice facility? I mean, we'll go over to Pat McAfee's.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah,
this week.
It's coming.
What do you think's going on there?
I think Joe Burrow's out of whack because he didn't have a preseason and he was hurt during training camp, and it's nothing to worry about.
Okay.
Maybe he sits a game. I'll be pissed because I'll have to start Desmond Ridder. I don't want to do it.
That's not a bad thing.
It's not bad. It's not great.
No, it's not good.
But
it's not ideal.
No, but I'll do it if I have to in fantasy.
Right.
But no, he'll be fine. Dude, he's got two of the best freaking athletes on the planet on his team.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got one of the best offensive minds in football in Zach Taylor. And he's one of the best athletes to ever play on this field. He is. Point blank. I don't care. I don't care if he's only in year 4 or whatever. Joe Burrow is different, man.
Yes.
He's Joe Cool Jr. for a reason. This guy's different. He'll figure it out. He will figure it out. I have faith in him.
So the fans that overreact to the first 2 weeks of the Cincinnati Bengals season just need to
bring it down.
Bring it down. Goose Fraba.
I hear that every night.
Yes, Goose Fraba. Because I'm telling it to you when you're flipping out when you're playing online with somebody. But that's neither here nor there. Bengals have started off slow the last 3 years now. They've started off slow. And guess what's happened every single time? They've made the playoffs and they've made a run. They even made a Super Bowl.
And Dindsey, it's not even just that. They start hitting on all cylinders.
Oh, yes.
They
have the Chiefs' number.
Yep.
They have the Chiefs' number. They're Joe Burrow's 3-1 against Pat Mahomes?
Yep. Pretty good record.
The only other quarterback that I can think of off the top of my head that has that good a record against Pat Mahomes is Jared Goff. Weirdly, but it's Jared Goff.
Just as we'd all expect.
Yeah, just as we all expect. I want to say, is Jared Goff undefeated against Mahomes, or does he have a loss in there?
2-0.
He is 2-0. Okay. You're not going to get past that with Mahomes, I don't think. No. if the Lions and Chiefs ever happen to meet again.
Yep.
But no, not worried about the Bengals at all. Worried about the offensive line a little bit. That's about it. Other than that, once they start clicking on offense and they can keep their defense relaxed and off the field, they can get their rest and just play nice complementary football. It'll click. It'll click, and the Bengals will make another playoff run.
Yes. And then I got one more here, and then we'll switch over to Trevor's, and then whatever the hell you guys want to talk about here. I got one more story, but Nate, Trevor, we talked about it. We're going to leave that for the end of the show. Just very sad news going on there. So is there any reason to be hopeful in New England? I believe Mac Jones is done after this season. Very bold prediction. Bill Belichick, the frustration and the anger that came across that man's body when he threw that challenge flag down, I shed tears of joy just seeing seeing that guy. We had the deflate gate. We had headphones in the stadiums going out. I can't hear what calls you're playing. Yeah, all the shit. And then now it's finally coming to realization that they were nothing without Tom Brady. And I love every moment of Mac Jones. I have no issue with Mac Jones, but Robert Kraft, you saw him, his booth. There's no hoochie sitting next to him. His hoochie game's down because his team sucks, and I love it. So, what do you boys think?
I not gonna lie, Drew. You kind of stole my thunder there. That was one of my hot takes as well. To kind of go along with that, kind of rephrase it a little bit too. The Bill Belichick era in New England is nearing its end a lot faster than any of us thought.
Okay.
Just throwing that out there too. The offense does not look good. The defense, they can hold a candle. That's for sure. That is for sure. They probably have they have one of the best defense in the NFL, easily top 10, maybe even top 5 in terms of pure shutdown defense. I can tell you they don't throw up a whole lot of fantasy points, but they're just matter of fact in your face. They don't give up a whole lot. So. But that offense, it's not good. It is not in a good spot right now with Mac Jones. They have, for my money, one of the worst receiving cores that I've seen for the Patriots. Well, probably the worst that I've seen for the Patriots, and one of the worst in the NFL today, I would argue.
Right.
And that's another offense where you need Ramondre Stevenson to go off in order for complementary football on the offensive end to happen. There I am using that $10 word again, complementary football.
They don't have
0-2 start, and they have a rough schedule ahead. I believe they have the lowest strength of schedule in the NFL. So it's looking bleak to start off. Might get a little bit better. They play the Jets this upcoming week, and if a losing streak needs a cure, you play the Jets.
Right. Well,
maybe not now as much as in years past, but maybe that'll still ring true. Pat's just a side note, Pat's favored by 2.5 on the road, no less, in that one. So
I'm going Jets on that.
I honestly might as well.
I am.
Yeah, Jets have a really solid front seven. I think they can shut Stevenson down. But
well, I'll tell you right now.
It's weird to say, but it's not that good to be a New England Patriots fan right now. And honestly, I feel bad for. I want to give a quick shout out here too. My brother Austin just turned 20 yesterday, so good on him. I recently figured out he was a closet Pats fan for all those years. Never knew it. He was never a big football guy, but he's sticking to his guns. He's still watching his Pats. He's still rooting on Mac Jones. I don't worry. I haven't given him a jersey yet. I can't bring myself to that. I was nice enough to get him a sweatshirt, but I'm not. No. If I spend money on a Pats jersey, I'd probably put my head through the drywall. I don't want that.
Well,
I know. I went off on a little tangent there, so I will cut it off there and let Nate interject.
Lee Corso has a saying that has made him legendary. Not so fast. Not so fast. I don't believe you guys, man. This is Bill Belichick. There have been times where Mac Jones looked lost out there. Heck, he was benched in the middle of a game for Bailey Zappi, someone who didn't even make the freaking team this year to start the year.
right.
It took Matt Corral going through, unfortunately, mental health issues, I believe, is what it's to believe to be him stepping away, for him to be activated from the practice squad.
Mm-hmm.
So, but here's the other thing. They were right in the playoff race till the last game last year, and their offense was worse than this year. They had defensive coaches, Joe Judge and Matt Patricia, calling the offense last year, and they still had a chance. This is Bill O'Brien and Bill Belichick.
Right.
Give them a chance. They should have beat the Eagles. They were right there. And heck, they were an inch away from getting a first down on Sunday night. They should have had a crack at it. Granted, it took Mike Gesicki flicking the ball back to the freaking left guard and him mumbling, brumbling, stumbling, Chris Berman style to get almost to the marker for them to have a chance. But I know they're in a tough division. I know Mac Jones hasn't been super impressive, especially not last week. But if you watch the first week, he looked pretty dang good. Looked pretty good against a good Eagles team. He's going to be up and down. That's Mac Jones. He's still figuring it out. Last year was a complete reset for him. That year was terrible. The fact that Matt Patricia and Joe Judge call that offense is a joke. That's Patriot loyalty, just similar to the Steelers. You know, a lot of things get masked when you have these superstar players or superstar rosters. Well, last year they didn't have a superstar player, a superstar roster. Their receiving corps last year was worse than this year. For sure. For sure. They got Juju Smith-Schuster, Gesicki, Hunter Henry, Bourne. Like, they got some guys. They got a better team on paper this year than they did last year. And they definitely have a better OC. No question. So if the Jets keep going in the direction that they're going, that could be 1 or 2 wins. It's really hard to make the playoffs at 0-2. Bengals have done it, but yet a couple other teams. But I'm not rolling these guys out, man. This is still Bill Belichick. This is still the New England Patriots. They'll sneak in it. They'll hang around in there no matter what. This team always does. Even though you're with Cam Newton that they were up and down with, they hung around. They just hang in there. These stupid games they shouldn't be in, they're in. And their offense can suck, but they'll find a way. Their special teams will make a play. Their defense will make a play. The other team will play terribly. You know, the rain and the snow will come into effect in New England. Stupid stuff happens. They always get this luck about them. I'm sick of it. But I'm not ruling it out, man. I'm not. I'm not with you guys yet. If they lose this game, though, it's a little bit easier to jump on the train that you guys are on at the moment about them.
Okay. Just throw in there, you got a quarterback. He's on the field like a newborn, like Bambi. He looks like a newborn deer. He's scared. You got a Tic Tac star on the team now, so that was a good addition. And I'd say by week 6, just to end out this nice takes here, Trevor's takes too. Just to end this take here, probably by week 6. Trevor, Robert Kraft will have his Hoochies back up in the booth.
Oh, my gosh.
All right. All right, Trevor, what do you got, buddy?
What did the famous band AC/DC, one of their famous songs, Money Talks. Money talks to the Hoochies, right, Drew?
Yes, they do. Yeah, Jerry Jones is struggling. Well, actually, Jerry.
No. Jerry is, I told you guys, Jerry built a winner this year. They are the Cowboys defense is the 3rd highest scoring fantasy player this year right now.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yes.
But
so Alabama. They have one of at least starting out, one of the worst Alabama teams that I've seen in my time. Granted, most of the time I've been a college football fan. It's been Nick Saban. It's been steady at the quarterback play with the likes of Bryce Young, Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa. Hell, even A.J. McCarron, I believe, got him to a national title. But now they have the likes of Ty Simpson in there, Tyler Buckner playing in there. They're only winning games 17-3. Ugh. Might be a bit of an overreaction. Well, actually, I'll start with this. It's a little more reasonable. Alabama is not making the playoff this year. I think that's a little more reasonable.
Oh,
and Alabama, they're on a slippery slope. They are on a very slippery slope right now. I'm not going to say that I'm out on them as a program. Absolutely not. Not with Nick Saban there. But they got to figure out this quarterback situation, man. And if they don't, hell, they could have a 3-loss season if they don't figure out this whole quarterback situation. With the division that they're in the SEC, it's not a good situation right now. Now, Nick Saban did say that Milroe is going to be the starter, and I think that's honestly the best decision moving forward. But he also has as many touchdowns as interceptions in the game that he started. And I also got to say, side note, former Notre Damers, Tyler Buckner, he was not very good. 5 of 14, 34 yards against UCF, and Tommy Rees has not gotten his career out to a good start at Alabama, and it just warms my heart as a diehard Irish fan to see these players go to bigger programs, have a bigger spotlight, and just absolutely flop, at least for these first couple of plays. But that'll be my semi-hot take. Alabama will not make the playoff.
I'm sold on that. I'll tell you that right now. I am also sold on Milroe at starting quarterback.
Yes.
He should have never been benched. Should have never been benched. His legs add a dynamic into that offense. I don't care if he throws as many touchdowns as he does interceptions. It was freaking 2 games, and you lost 1 game against a team that's arguably a top 5 team in the country right now in Texas. You lost by 10. The defense didn't help you either, really. That was one of the worst Alabama defensive performances I can remember. It wasn't very good. And, so I'm with you, though. And I'll tell you this about Tommy Rees. How do you stink at Notre Dame and get a promotion to Alabama? It makes no sense. I didn't understand that. That's terrible to me. Yeah. And I'm not talking
that's as baffling as Tyler Buckner transferring to Alabama. Tyler Buckner should have never had a snap at quarterback at Alabama. That's absolutely. I predicted he never would. He did, so he proved me wrong in that regard. Whoa. But again, 5 of 14, 34 yards, QBR of 15.2.
Yeah, and some of his throws missed by a freaking Tuscaloosa country mile. They were freaking They were like Donovan McNabb spikes in the dirt in the Andy Reid offenses in the early to mid 2000s with the Eagles. He was throwing bounce passes out there. And I know it was wet. I know it was wet, guys. I watched the game. It was wet. But this is USF. Yeah. They stink. They're one of the worst teams in the country. They're terrible. Like this team that wins like 1, 2, 3 games a year. They're bad. You can't beat South Florida by 14. You just can't. I don't care what the weather is.
Right.
Not a great audition. Milroe, get in there, please.
Yeah.
And I wanted to throw something out too. Trevor, you got more?
I do, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you, do you think Notre Dame's going to beat Ohio State this week? Because I'm going to tell you right now, Nate. Actually, I'll put hot takes.
That goes along with my next one.
I didn't mean to derail you, Nate, there. I apologize.
You told me this, Nate. You told me this first. I didn't believe you. I am all the way on board. Sam Hartman is winning the Heisman Trophy. And Notre Dame is beating Ohio State this Saturday.
I put it in there. Fucking right. Mm-hmm.
They are beating Ohio State this Saturday.
Okay.
Ohio State's quarterback looked a little shaky. Notre Dame defense, they're never shaky. They're going to get to him. They're going to force turnovers. And we're going to run it down their damn throat with Estime.
I can see the sparkle in his eye right now, Nate. It's like Remember the Titans speech. I'm getting chills right now.
Oh yes. Football is fun to you? Zero fun, sir. This Saturday is going to be extra fun. Game day, I can't wait to have you. And Notre Dame, I cannot wait to kick Ohio State's candy ass this Saturday.
Oh, boy. All right.
Sam Hartman, 4 touchdowns. Notre Dame wins by 10.
Okay.
Wow.
You're piquing my interest
here. In front of their home crowd, clicking on all cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame beats Ohio State. Slides right into the top 6.
I feel like I'm watching Rudy right now. I'm getting emotional.
You heard it here first. You heard it right here first. Hey, real close. Here come the Irish.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I'm with you though. I'm picking Notre Dame in this one. Ohio State has not looked Ohio State-esque for them. There's no doubt they have some talented pass catchers, but the quarterback situation is shaky. Comes down to the running game for Ohio State. That's what it comes down to. They're going to have to win in different ways this year. I think their team's still talented enough to win this game. I'm not saying they're going to. I'm just saying they're talented enough to win the game. But they're going to have to run the football well. That's going to be the key. Keep that Notre Dame offense off the field. That's what I think. Because Notre Dame's offense has been lights freaking out so far this year. Hartman's thrown it all over the place, not turning it over, looking like a true veteran out there, and they are clicking. They got that home crowd, night game, not a rivalry, but kind of a game that you're ready for. This is two teams and programs that are very highly respected, and this is a one that you want to put a big dub on because you beat a powerhouse, no matter who comes out with the victory there.
Yeah.
With you though, Dinzy, man.
Yes. Yep.
Disappointed that game's also on the same time as Penn State's because two of the best games of the weekend are playing at the same time.
Yes. To not to go too far into this Notre Dame matchup, but last year they went to the Horseshoe. They lost 21-10. That was without a quarterback. We kept their passing game. We kept C.J. Stroud pretty much at bay the whole game. Ohio State had to run and play defense, which was out of their element at the time.
Yep.
Now they have a worse quarterback. Notre Dame has a quarterback. Heisman winner. Look, there's a twinkle in my eye as I'm saying that. Heisman winner. I'll say it again. Heisman winner. Sam Hartman. Notre Dame. Over the Buckeyes. And Penn State probably gonna smoke Iowa as well.
Okay.
I'm not taking a smoking.
You're not taking a smoking?
Nope. Kirk Ferentz.
That's honestly fair. The spread is way too high.
Yep. Kirk Ferentz, PA kid, loves to beat Penn State. Iowa will slow it down. Penn State is slightly above average on the defensive line of scrimmage, but they have given up some big plays in the run game. So that's a susceptible part of this game for Penn State. Shorten the game is Iowa's key. They got to shorten the game. And the opposite way, Penn State needs to get out to a 2-score lead right off the bat. They get out to a 2-score lead. I'm not confident in Iowa with McNamara completing like 54% of his passes that he can throw it all over the place and they come back that way. Our defense is great in the back half. Our back few guys, we got some first rounders and some really great players in their secondary. So, but no, I think it'll be close. I do. They always play us tough. Seen it enough.
Do.
And the way that Iowa plays, they hang around in every game, which makes them susceptible to getting upset, a.k.a. losing to North Dakota State a few years ago, a.k.a. almost losing to South Dakota State last year. But a.k.a. they can beat Penn State because they hang around. They can beat some of these pretty good Big Ten teams because they hang around. Their margin of error, though, is it's small. Like they can't screw up or they're going to lose. They got to really click on all cylinders, but the way they play gives them a chance. So I'm not super confident we're going to blow this team out. And if they do, I'll be the first to say I was wrong, but I've seen enough with Kirk Ferentz and this Iowa program. They're tough. They're a tough, hard-nosed team.
I agree, buddy.
That spread is way too high, 14.5. I don't like that number at all, even at home.
I know it's white out. I know
Iowa always gives us fits.
They do. Kirk Ferentz, PA guy, loves to coach against Penn State.
Mm-hmm. That he does. I remember. Yeah, Iowa even beat us a couple of years ago. If you remember that, and that was when Clifford got hurt, unfortunately. Which I also think that was the only reason that they won. But regardless, they did beat Penn State.
Yep.
Can they beat Penn State again? Of course. Will they? I don't think so.
No.
It's going to be an interesting game, though. It's going to be a very messy type of a game. Like you said, Nate, our linebacking core, the Penn State linebacking core, not very good, not very consistent at this juncture, especially, that kind of revealed itself in the first half of last week's game.
Yeah. Thank God.
It'll be interesting.
Thank goodness Altmaier threw 4 interceptions, because
that did help a lot. Yeah, our secondaries, they still balled out. And, we had the lead for pretty much the entire game, forced them to pass, forced them to play catch up the whole game. And they're not a team built for that whatsoever. So,
no, they're very similar to Iowa, physical, and they want to hang around and stay in the game that way.
Yep. So if Penn State can get out to a nice little lead, I'd feel a lot better about their efforts going forward in that game and throughout the season. It'd be nice. It'd be a nice confidence booster if they're able to cover that spread first of all, and get a nice big win in a whiteout game, which is always big. I can't wait to see that atmosphere. Of course, I hate that the whiteout game is against Iowa this year, but of course, we play Michigan later in the year. It has to be big noon Saturday, so. Thanks, Fox. Appreciate it. That's all I had, Drew.
Okay. All right.
That's all I had as far as takes go.
Okay. Any more? I mean, we kind of delve into college football. Are there any more other things you guys want to touch on in the realm of college football, or any news?
Tell you what, the only guys that I think are the only guys that are right there with Sam Hartman right now are Penix, Ewers, and Caleb Williams. My gosh, Penix is just
yes,
and
he is
Caleb,
unbelievable.
Oh, these guys are nuts. This is a really awesome start to this season for some of these guys. And one other thing I wanted to say, I think I alluded to it over the last couple weeks. Oh my gosh, is the Pac-12 loaded? This is the best the Pac-12's been in 20 years. Man, is this conference tough. Holy smokes. You want to see a gauntlet of a schedule? How about the University of Arizona schedule over the next?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll pull this thing up because me talking about it doesn't do it justice.
Gotcha.
It is absolutely lousy. Lousy. They have a chance to beat Stanford this week.
Mm-hmm.
Stanford's not very good. And then they get the privilege of playing Washington, USC, Washington State, Oregon State, UCLA, Colorado, and Utah in a row, who are all ranked. Good luck.
Goddamn.
Arizona.
Jeez.
Still ain't relevant. Still ain't relevant in football.
No.
Haven't been relevant since Nick Foles. And even then you were really relevant.
Yeah. I just pulled that up too, Nate. And that is wow.
Oh, yeah.
That is lousy.
Yep. And then to cap it off,
it's I guess a bit of a silver lining. The Arizona fans, they're the ones that go to the football games, all 12 of them. At least they get to see some pretty solid teams come to Arizona, and probably kick the shit out of Arizona. But
well, it's a nice treat after you run the gauntlet. You get rivalry week with Arizona State, so that's anybody's game any year. So what a lovely ending to the schedule. Better enjoy this one this week against Stanford. Better hope you win. Otherwise, yikes, you might not win another game.
I was going to say they have actually won three of their first four here, or no, two of their first three.
Oh, that might be it. That might be
that might be it. If they don't beat Stanford, then you got to go up against Penix, Williams, Shador Sanders down the line. Ugh.
You'll get Cam Rising back at Utah.
Yep, he'll be back by that point.
You get Chip Kelly, UCLA offense, and then you get a very tough and stout Oregon State defense.
Yep.
That's tough. That is tough.
Damn.
No me sé nos padres, se me sé.
With that.
Yeah, I completely butchered that Spanish, but the point is taken, I think.
Right. No. Any other things, fellas?
Nope.
Trying to see what I had here. Just a quick baseball thing. Nate mentioned his name earlier. Ohtani not going to be pitching in 2024 due to that surgery that he's having on his elbow, and then he'll be back in 2025 at full strength. He'll just be hitting next season is all, and then hopefully back in 2025 doing his normal stuff. So, and it's unfortunate too because he was rumored to have a pretty fat contract, that has obviously been greatly reduced in value due to that injury, but he'll still get paid.
Yeah, we could very easily see Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani done for the Angels this offseason.
Yes,
and
Trout's going to get traded.
Yeah, there's a very high likelihood Shohei doesn't resign, and I can't believe I'm saying this. I think there's a chance that they move on from Anthony Rendon too and just say, screw this. This guy is a menace, never plays. He goofs around when he's hurt. He isn't transparent with our organization or the media. It has been an absolutely lousy relationship with that. He has barely played. He goofs around. He can't stay healthy. He's overpaid. He hasn't produced. If I'm the Angels, honestly, I kind of hope he just clean house.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Got a lot of money. Might as well spend it on somebody else who wants to be there.
They do. They need to build up that farm system in the worst way. They have one of the worst, if not the worst, farm system in the entire league.
Yeah.
And trust me, I've heard it from a good friend of mine who's an Angels fan. He also happens to be an Arizona Cardinals fan, so he's feeling it right about now. That's a shame. I mean, the Angels, I still think they did the right thing going all in for this season. It just that was their only prayer at keeping Ohtani. And we knew it was likely not to work out, and that scenario has played out before our very eyes.
Yep.
So,
well, just real quick, fellas, we got two questions here. First one here, Dakota, we appreciate you commenting here. Do you think Colorado will win the next 2 weeks? In the next 2 weeks, will they win their games?
Let me see.
I don't know who they
play in those next 2 weeks.
Okay.
I just had their schedule up a second ago. Let me pull that up again.
Well, gets a little bit hairier with no Travis Hunter on both sides of the ball. That certainly doesn't help them for 3 weeks. So they got Oregon on Saturday and USC the next week.
Okay.
That is tough.
Do they win either of the next 2 weeks? That's dicey. That's dicey. If the home and home was reversed, if they were playing home at Oregon and at USC, I think it'd be a clear-cut answer for me. They beat Oregon, lose to USC, but it's less clear with them going on the road at Oregon and then home against Caleb Williams and the ever-loving Trojans, who are my absolute second favorite team in college football. Do they win either of those two? I'm going to say no, but they keep it close against Oregon.
So split them, you think?
No, they lose both, but they keep it close against Oregon.
Keep it close against Oregon. Okay.
They keep it close against Oregon.
And then,
This is when the gauntlet starts for the Pac-12, and you start beating each other up. I don't think they have a chance against USC. I don't.
Okay.
Too many playmakers. Oregon, they have a chance. They have a chance. They really do. I agree with you. If they were at home, I really give them a good shot. I don't know. They have a pretty good shot in that one. You know, Oregon should have lost against Texas Tech. Honestly, they really should have.
Yeah.
But that was in Lubbock. That's a tough place to play, and you never know what can happen when you travel that far. So no, I'm going to say they lose both. No Travis Hunter. I still think Shedeur Sanders is going to throw all over the place. I just don't think Colorado's defense will hold these guys up. I don't think so. I think we're going to see the Colorado defense give up 100 to 120 points in the next two games. That's what I think is going to happen.
Okay.
Even with that, if I can interject here real quick, I just looked up the spread, and this is kind of very shocking to me. That is a 21-point spread in Oregon's favor.
Oh, wow. I think
that is a lot. That is a lot of points.
Yeah, I think it'll be closer than that.
I would think so too. And this is a testament to how much the Pac-12 has been scoring this season, the over-under being 70.5.
Yep. I really
according to FanDuel.
I think that's going to be over. Which is insane.
Yeah.
Like
I could see it.
Colorado's defense is not that good. He kept saying, "Oh, Colorado's defense destroying Nebraska. Nebraska stinks. They stink. They gave up 4 points against TCU, who also stinks.
Right.
Yes.
And then they gave up 40-some to Colorado State.
Yep.
In a rivalry.
And that was supposed to be what was it, like a 23.5-point spread, I think it was. It ended up going to double overtime.
And all credit to Colorado. They were getting their butts kicked at half, and they adjusted.
They were.
And Shedeur just kept them in it.
He had that, 95, 96-yard drive at the end to tie it. That's
just unbelievable.
That's good stuff right there. Yeah.
Yeah. The dude's clutch. He's not turning it over. He's hitting his receivers. They're making plays, mixing in the run game well, but their defense is just so bad. It's not good. It's going to kill them. I think Colorado will be bowl eligible, but I really think they've won half their games this year. I think they might win 6. I think that's very possible still.
Yeah.
2 more questions here, fellas. So let me see here what the hell's going on. College football is just better than NFL football. NFL, there's a flag thrown almost every play where college football is basically entertaining. Mostly no flags. Would you guys agree with that? That's actually a very good point. I appreciate that.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
But there's targeting rules in college that are tough. The NFL doesn't have it. They have a 15-yard penalty, and there's sometimes thrown out of the game, but it's not as often as this targeting crap in college. I really dislike that. And then you suspend them for parts of the next game potentially, or the whole rest of that game if it happens in the first half. I hate that about college football. I get it. You're cracking down, helping these kids be a little healthier, but I'll say this: college football is stale right now. This year is a little different. There's some legit teams right now, 4 weeks in, that have a chance that haven't had a chance in a long time. Alabama's lost, and LSU's lost, and Ohio State or Notre Dame is going to lose this weekend, which sucks for that team, but that throws a wrinkle in the feather. And the Pac-12 is up this year. The ACC is way down. I think it's stale though. At least for another year potentially, until they get the 8-team playoff, and then these scenarios can kind of play themselves out. They realign the conferences. I still think the NFL is the best product, even if they do have problems with the flags. A lot of these late hits and questionable calls, but no, anybody in the NFL can beat anybody. You saw it on Sunday. The call, I can't even think. Arizona Cardinals should have beat the Giants, and there's no reason on paper that should happen. Not even a little bit. You saw the Commanders, who I don't think on paper are as talented as the Broncos are. They came all the way back and won. These guys are professionals. I think it's the best league, personally. But I'm hopeful with the changes that's happening in college, it makes it more competitive. That's just my take.
Okay. No, I agree with that. Sure.
Yeah, no, I'm on the side of the NFL. It's definitely the better product. Obviously, you have the cream of the crop from Division One and even D2 and D3 from college, filtering up to the NFL, and then they're competing against each other. In terms of quality of play, the NFL is unmatched. That's just the way it is. As much as we like to nitpick at all the rules that are inconsistently enforced, and Roger Goodell, the fans booing him at the draft constantly, which he's turned full heel now, and I'm all for that. But college from the perspective of like a sentimental football fan, and maybe even like coaches, recruiters, and people that are involved in the game, it is pretty entertaining in that everybody's on a level playing field, and everybody is trying to get to that next level. There's an edge. There's a certain edge that NFL players, a lot of them, don't necessarily have. And part of, and I know, Nate, you alluded to some of the rule changes in college, the clock rules now. You don't get a stoppage after a first down unless it's inside of 2 minutes of each half in college. That has kind of changed the perspective on the game a little bit. And we saw it in the MLB too. Whenever these drastic rule changes happen, along with all the conference realignments, unfortunately, the product in the short term, we're still in the short term with all this, suffers a little bit. In the long term, like you said, after the realignments, after all the players get used to all this stuff, and NIL hopefully gets somewhat regulated and becomes a little bit more level of a playing field in that regard, it's still going to be a hell of a product. I'm still going to tune in for 8 hours on Saturday and watch college football, just because, in my opinion, there's no better way to spend a Saturday in the fall. Right. But yeah, in terms of college versus NFL, it's still no debate for me. It's just more pristine. It's more polished at the NFL level, and yeah, it's a better product, and it's honestly way more competitive because you don't get these Alabamas playing Chattanoogas on a given week. You have competitive games each and every week. Very rarely is there a blowout.
Okay.
Yeah. One other thing I just wanted to add, and I'll make it.
No, you're good, Nate.
For about 5 to 7 years, it was Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, USC, and Notre Dame, and that was about it. And Clemson and Florida State. That was about it. Like, those were the only teams that had a chance. And then randomly you had like TCU last year, and Michigan State the one year, and Cincinnati the one year. But like, it's randomness. Mostly it's like it's a combination of three of the same 5, 6, 7 teams, and maybe one outlier every 3 years that like doesn't really have much of a chance.
Ohio State was in there a lot too.
Right. Ohio State, Clemson, Florida State, LSU, Notre Dame, USC, Oklahoma. Those were the teams that USC hasn't gotten in there. Washington, I guess, was in the playoff the one year, but like,
yeah, it's
pretty steady with these big players. Georgia obviously as well, but yeah, that's the one gripe I have. I'm hopeful with 8 teams. Just adding one more game gives a team a chance to lose.
Yes.
And maybe it doesn't actually happen. The 8 seed doesn't, win any games. It doesn't make a difference. But maybe it will. Maybe you'll see chaos. The opportunity to have chaos is great.
Right.
And Division 2 and Division 3, they have playoffs.
Yep.
Not 2 games, 3 games. They have like several rounds to get there.
Yeah. Yep.
So Division 1 should do the same, and I'm glad they're doing it. It's a good change, and hopefully, I know it's going to 8, but maybe in the future it'll go to 12 or 16 or whatever. So, yeah, that's all. I just wanted to add that point too.
No, you're good. And then one more question here, and then we're touch on some devastating news. There's a thing I just saw while we were having this discussion here. Favorite trade destination for Mike Trout?
Oh,
very, very good question there, Matt. Appreciate it.
Comes to mind is he's a New Jersey kid. Philadelphia Phillies would love to have his services, and they seem to be just loading up with talent on that team. So I think that's one organization that's going to probably make a run if Trout and the Angels agree that he would like to be traded, because Trout has a no trade clause. He's got to approve it. So that's one organization that would make some sense. I don't know. Other than that, that's the one that jumps off the page. You know, I can't see Trout in New York.
No,
Either one. I feel like another team that maybe has a chance is like the Boston Red Sox, just because they have a boatload of money, and like I can just see Trout being a Red Sox. I don't know. I don't have really any reason to back it up. I just think it kind of makes sense. But Philly's the unquestioned favorite. You know, he's got some of his friends there. He's pretty much from there. Philly's got a team that's a lot of money wrapped up into these guys. They want to win now. And they got assets to trade for Trout too. So that's who I'm thinking.
The question was favorite destination. I know the favorite destination, but I know that's not very realistic in the same vein. So, to Nate's point, Phillies, Red Sox, they got to be up there in the running. Another team I just have a weird inkling about, just because they have a tendency in the last, I would say in the last quarter century or so, just to sign one guy to a large deal, is the Seattle Mariners. What assets they have to give the Angels. Obviously, they have Julio. I don't know if they're going to part ways with him. Likely not. But I know they have a loaded farm system, and they have a really good pitching staff, and they could offer that up to the Angels as well. So they have the assets to do it. Do I think that will happen? Probably not. Would I love to see Trout in a Mariners jersey as a bit of a closet Mariners fan? They're my West Coast team. Yeah, I would like to see that. But most likely Phillies or Boston.
Okay.
Not to crush you, Trevor. They'll never trade Trout in their own division.
That is true. That is also true. Yeah, you're right.
If they do that, they are even a sorrier franchise than I thought.
No, it doesn't crush me, but you know, logistically it makes sense. Well, in terms of the moving pieces that you have, but like you said, in the same division, yeah. When you're trying to essentially rebuild for the future, that's not going to work.
They'll trade 26 players for Mike Trout, and they'll be the Pittsburgh Mike Trouts.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he can do the pitching, the catching, the fielding, the hitting. He can bat in all 9 spots, and he'll probably still do better than the team that we have now.
It'll be Derek Shelton, the Pirate Parrot, and Mike Trout on the field. It'll be like the Benchwarmers movie. Like they'll have 3 guys out there playing against the rest of the team.
We got a pitcher, a catcher, and a fielder.
And someone who's afraid of the sun in the dugout, in the clubhouse.
Yes. Yeah. Howie.
I love that movie so goddamn much.
Outside bad, sun's scary. He's not my friend.
Yeah.
But no, I see people coming in here late here. I appreciate you coming in here. Any other news, folks, or anything else to add here before we kind of dive somewhere?
No.
Last week was
on enough tangents tonight.
Okay. So major news coming out here. Seen a lot of different reports in regards to this. You have the closet reporters that think that they are part of CNN and Fox News, and then you got guys out there, you know, trying to be doctors that have no medical degree. But so concerning news coming out, police in Chicago, suburb of Maywood, say the former NFL defensive back Sergio Brown is missing, and that they found his mother dead by a creek near her home. In regards, I'll go further with the reading, but in regards, people are throwing out CTE. That was the first little thing they threw out there. Again, we don't have full facts here, and we're not a crime show here. You know what I mean? But I hate when things like this happen, Nate, Trevor, that we automatically say, "Oh, this guy's nuts." Maybe he's not even involved. You know what I mean? So but anyways, further down here, Maywood Police Department ruled the death of Myrtle Brown, 73, a homicide. The Chicago Tribune reports, per the report, Sergio Brown's been missing, and they have no idea where his whereabouts are. And it's just very devastating news. He played for Notre Dame, Trevor. I don't know if you knew that.
Yes. Yeah.
7 seasons in the NFL, New England Patriots. He started his career out and then ended his career with the Buffalo Bills, but was on the Colts and Jaguars. If this comes out, and I don't want to make it a medical crime show, if it comes out, this is CTE. Is there any more going into this, fellas? Like what? Let's, I don't want to say bad things come out of it, but let's find out he's dead. And they study his brain and it comes back CT. I mean,
yeah. Well, first of all, prayers to the Brown family and
right.
all connected. Just a terrible situation. Hopefully it gets sorted out. Just sad to hear about any of that sort of stuff from any of those folks at all.
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate, but if there's any occurrence with CTE and these head injuries, hopefully there's an even greater investment, continued research, continued support for these players post the NFL, so they can hopefully curb issues that happen. There's been plenty of them that have been documented, some probably undocumented. But yeah, it's a problem. And it's a problem in sports too. There's a lot of folks in UFC and boxing and other contact sports that go through this too, unfortunately. So hopefully more research and treatments and good vibes hit these folks. It's sad to see that.
Yes.
They chose a profession that may have paid them a lot of money, given them a lot of fame, but it also took away a lot of stuff from them too. And sometimes we get lost in that. These guys are humans first, athletes second. So, we got to show them some grace. And I know I went on some tangents today and ripped some people, but these guys are humans too. And, it's nothing personal. I sometimes don't think that people are cut out for what they're doing, just personally. Baker Mayfield says, hey, it'd be interesting to see if we showed up to your work and we said, well, we don't think you're cut out for what you're doing at your desk. So he's right. As much as I'm not really a great big supporter of Baker Mayfield, I think he's kind of a stooge, as Drew would like to call him. But it's unfortunate that this stuff happens, man. And
yes,
hopefully more investment in player safety, health is prioritized if this is what it ends up being. But I don't want to speculate.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah. Trevor.
Nate coming in, another dynamite take. I don't have too much to add other than to echo Nate's comments. Prayers to the Brown family. Hopefully that guy returns very soon and everything's okay, and hopefully he's not involved and all that. But yeah, now I can. It's obvious to see why the NFL and college football and all these contact sports prioritizing safety. As they should. They should have probably been doing it a lot sooner. But unfortunately, some people had to go down some really bad paths in order for that to happen. And this is another case of a guy potentially going down a bad path and having life and death consequences, quite literally.
Right.
Yeah. Humans first. Got to treat these guys as humans first. We can criticize their play on the field all we want, or their actions off the field as it pertains to their team.
Right.
But we just got to remember they're humans just like us. They have all kinds of issues going on just like us.
Right.
And obviously with the sport that a lot of these guys play, a little bit more severe than others. Hopefully it's not what it appears to be.
Right.
But I did read the article you're referencing, Drew, and I know what it kind of alludes to, and I know the path this situation generally goes down. So,
yeah, no, sad news, and thoughts and prayers, and I hate to do that to all the beautiful people out there. With last week, we had to do that though, 9/11, and then this week this comes out, we have to shine on it and show our compassion towards yes, we put these athletes every week on pedestals, but we're quick to rip the pedestal off them, and so we'll see what comes out of it, and thoughts and prayers to the family, and hopefully he returns home. Whatever it comes out, if he's involved or not, just know that he's alive. So anything else, folks?
No.
Okay.
Oh, kind of a grim way to end.
Right.
definitely just want to say it again that, my takes on players are not personal. I just call it how I see it. And
Mhm.
I would never.
I think you froze up on us again, Drew.
Oh boy.
Yeah. That's okay. I think I can try and finish off what he's going to say. Hopefully I can
back.
echo. Oh, he's back.
There.
Go ahead. Finish you cut out there for a second there, Nader.
It's all right. It's all right.
But yeah, no, like I said, nothing personal towards these guys. I wish them nothing but the best. I hope they prove me wrong. I hope everybody that I have a negative take towards proves.
In and out again. I just hope Kenny proves him wrong as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think he will, but we'll see.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Thoughts and prayers to the Brown family once again.
Yeah. But no, I appreciate everybody's support here. A lot of comments. Really appreciate getting engagement. Yeah, welcome everybody here. Share it up. We'll answer questions throughout the show. It's not like Pat McAfee show. Don't want to at them right there, but we will answer your questions if you put stuff in the comments and give you a little shine, give you a little bit of light here while we're going through it as best we can. But one more thing here. Have a good day. Have a good night. God bless. Stay safe out there. This was another episode of Buckle Up with the Boys, and we'll be back next Tuesday at 8:00. One more message. Trevor, get those flags real quick.
Yes. Yeah, I got them right here. Yeah.
Oh, it looks good. Looks good on there. All right. Everybody have a good night. Appreciate it.